Hey guys, I'm Mason LeBrock Henderson, and this is Criminal Minds Season 11, Episode 6 review, Pariahville. And I really do like this episode. It's not, it does have problems, but it's good, which is much better than I can say for some shows right now that I really don't want to talk about because it still breaks my heart a bit. Um, but it's Season 11, same as the other show that's not doing too hot right now. And it's still doing pretty good. The episodes are still good. There's still a lot to enjoy about it. Uh, so basically, the main premise of this one is that there's like a little suburb type thing, like a neighborhood, and it's all these sex offenders, and they've already been convicted of some crime, but they admit themselves. They have to fill out this, you know, like a questionnaire type thing. They have to subject themselves to a tracking chip. They have all this stuff to kind of keep them under check, but it's like they want to get better, and yet they're still getting a lot of hate for it, which is, it's to be expected with the way our society is now. Fear what you don't understand type thing, and it shows this one scene where it shows the signs, or the sign to the neighborhood, and somebody wrote Perville or something like that on it. And it's, like I said, it's to be expected with the way that our society is now, and just how kind of, I guess, hesitant to accept anything else that goes outside of our view. Uh, I mean, you think about our foreign policy right now. America's the best. We're not even thinking about other worlds. We're just focused on ourselves. Stuff here. Everything is here. Who cares about what's going on overseas? It's all right here, because all that matters is us. And that's how we are now. And so when this thing, I'm not surprised at all that this sex offender community, they're trying to get better, but these people don't see it that way. They see this community that's right near them, and it's full of all these perverts that just, they do all these awful things. I can't be around them. And it's kind of hurtful to them because, well, they're trying to do better, and you just keep terrorizing them. So it was a very interesting concept. I don't know if anything like this actually exists. If it does, let me know. Not that I'm gonna like check in or anything, but I'm curious to see if it actually does work in real life. Like if this does help them kind of live life without giving in to their urges. Um, but anyway, that's just the premise of this one. Let me talk about first what I didn't like about it. They did two things that they do a lot in the show. So when it happened, I've seen it before. The first one is with I can't remember her first name, but I do. It's Aisha Tyler's character. Her last name is Lewis, so I'm just gonna call her Lewis. She has this opportunity open up. It's like a project. She interviews these people and she listens to stuff. She hears things that people can't hear. Um, and so it's this project that she would love to work on, but she has to start right now, which means she has to quit the BAU and she has to choose. And I've seen it done so many times before. I liked what they did with her character at first. We meet this husband that she has for like all of 2 minutes, and then he says, "I'm leaving," and it's just like that was kind of fast. Because this is something that's been happening. We just haven't seen it, and so it's kind of nice not to have to go through that whole thing where, oh, you have to choose me or the job. It's already gone to that point and past it, and he's just like, I'm done. And I'm not exactly great. It's not like I was like, yeah, thanks for rushing into it, but it's different. It's not something that we've seen before. It's not this whole drawn out process where we have to see. It happens at the beginning of the episode, and it ends with her kind of accepting the fact that if he can't be with her through her job, well then they weren't meant to be together in the first place. And so I like that. It's not something we see a lot of. A lot of the time we see it starts off they're having problems. A little bit later, oh, now they're getting a divorce because of this, and a little bit later it's like, oh well, now that it's happened, she's come to it. Just in one episode, you heard about the problem got worse very quickly, and then she came to accept the solution. Uh, and it was all done very well. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like, wait, what's going on? But in this case, it's something we've seen before. The only thing that I did like is at the end she didn't have to choose. Because most of the time it's like, well, choose the BAU or this project that you love, this is your career that you've been working on this whole time, and you have to choose this new thing you're doing now, or you have to choose this thing that you've been doing forever. And most of the time they're like, oh, well, I'll choose the BAU just because they're a character on the show. But in this case, Hotch works it out. He talks to some people, and she's able to work at the BAU while still consulting on this project. Like, that's interesting. We don't always see where things work out, where because oftentimes we have to choose in life, but there are exceptions to that rule where, well, you thought you had a choice, but in the end, you were able to do both. It's a very rare occurrence. So when it does happen, you're just like, you're happy for, if it happens to somebody that you're close to, you're happy for that person. They didn't have to choose, that things worked out for both sides. So that was nice how they handled that. But the other part, the main cop that's leading the investigation has two kids, a son and a daughter. And the daughter's older, so she's that rebellious teen. Her father's like, you can't go to that party. She's going to the party. And then the guy that asked her to the party, turns out he's not taking her to the party. He just wants to have his way with her. She says no. He kicks her out of the car. And of course, who should pick her up but the bad guy? The killer. And so that was just, it was just so, I know what's happening next. That she's like, okay, I'll just sneak out for an hour. You're like, don't do it. Things bad to happen. Bad things about to happen. And she does it anyway. And then he kicks her out of the car. He's like, don't do it. She's gonna get in trouble. You're gonna feel bad. Bad things about to happen. Sure enough, picked up by the killer and taken home. And it's so obvious, I guess, going in that you're just like, it's like watching a horror movie. It's like, no, don't go in there. Oh, you're going in there? You're an idiot. Don't split up. Oh, you split up? You're an idiot. That's how I felt watching it. I was just like, man, this girl's stupid. But anyway, going to the story itself. The story was actually really good because it was, like I said, it was based in this sex offender community. And a girl inside of this community dies, so everybody's suspecting it's somebody inside the community. And it's kind of like the popular theory going around. And, when you're watching it, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. And you catch yourself, you're like, wait a minute. I'm falling into this trap of just generalizing that just because they're sex offenders, they're bad people. That they can't change, that one of them's got to be a killer. But it's not one of them. It turns out to be I was curious if they were going to take it the route where somebody is killing people but framing somebody in the sex offender community just because they don't like them, because that would have been kind of interesting. It would have been like, wow, like that's some serious hate there. But it turns out it's this kid who he's actually next door neighbors with the cop, and he has like this. I don't even. Fetish isn't really the right word, I don't think. But he has like a cheerleader thing going on, and he wants them to perform cheers and stuff or something like that perfectly, and if they don't, kills them. I don't know. Like his motivations are kind of twisted. And I know Garcia said something about what happened with he stalked some cheerleaders or something like that. It was very very quickly rushed by, and I was like, wait, I missed it. And so, but anyway, it's the same old story. He has this thing. He's a psychopath or sociopath. But anyway, he kind of used the fact that there's this community full of sex offenders to hide the fact that he's doing it. He commits the first crime there so that the police's attention is there, and that's very clever, especially for the story, because it makes you think: is it somebody in this community? Is it somebody outside of it? If it is outside of it, what's the purpose? Why did they do? Well, there's a good reason. It's not something that you'd instantly think of. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. Like the case itself, it's a very good story, but the case itself is fairly cut and dry. Like I said, he commits a crime in this community to throw suspicion there, and later tries to kidnap the daughter, or he does kidnap the daughter of the cop. There is a very nice scene that is worth mentioning between Rossi and Lewis. He's talking to her about her decision and how she has to make a tough decision. They're talking about the job, and it's something that they talk about a lot, the job and how it affects you and all this stuff. And I really like how it finishes, because Rossi has just told her that the job takes a lot out of him, and it's everything he can do not to just give up. And she says, it takes a lot. My job takes a lot out of me too, because she has to interview these terrible people, and you can't imagine. I can't imagine having to do that. Talk to these people who are just awful, and having to deal with them and listen to them and really, really listen to what they're saying and listen to their motivations and stuff. But Rossi kind of finishes with saying, "Look, this job, it's not all happy days." He doesn't say it exactly like this. This is not an exact quote, just to clarify. But he said, it's not all happy. It's not all happy. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes you do things you don't want to have to do. And the way this ends, the killer takes the girl back to her house, and she, sees her dad's shotgun because he's the cop, sees it in the closet, and so he's like telling her to do her cheer. She's like, "I need my pom poms," and he's going toward the closet. And he's like, "Wait, why are your pom poms in your dad's closet?" And just before she can get the shot off, blocks it, and they wrestle. He gets the shotgun away from her, sees the cops, so holding her hostage with the knife to her neck. And Lewis starts talking to him and, telling him, "Look, I'm a great listener. I listen to people like you all the time. Let's talk about, your family and stuff like that." And as soon as he peeks his head out enough from behind her, she takes a shot and kills him. And it's the first time she's ever done that, at least on the BAU. She never clarified if that was her actual first time killing someone. But it just it came full circle, because Rossi was talking. Sometimes you do things you don't want to do, and she had to. And she's kind of really shaken up by it visually, you can tell. And Morgan's like, "Look, this job, sometimes it is hard, but sometimes you get to see moments like that and points, and the cop is getting to reunite with his daughter, and he's embracing her, and it's just it is a very nicely put line. It's a very nicely done story. Just how she's struggling under the weight. She has to kill a kid even though she doesn't want to, struggling even more, but then she gets to see that thing that really kind of lifts her up and thinks, I did it. I was able to make that happen. So very well done in that case. But other than that, nothing really worth freaking out about in this episode. Still waiting to see if they're going to bring back anything about that assassin. I was really hoping that they just throw in a couple episodes here and there about it. That would just be totally awesome, but it looks like they're going to go the same old route of open up with it, have a mid-season finale with it, and then have the fall finale, or the final season finale with it. Which, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But last season, it was kind of broke. So, I don't know. I'm going to let the writers do their job and just give my opinion about it. But that's pretty much it for this one. Another good episode. This season's definitely more consistent than last season, which was all over the place. And, I mean, the characters are still great. The cases are still great. So, yeah, very, very good. Very, very well done. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just That's how it is. It's good. 2 thumbs up. But that's pretty much it for this review. Tomorrow's Sunday, so have more reviews for you then. See you there. Peace out.